welcome to Maverrik Live, episode 100. We are back, and I'm here with founder and CEO, Dean Seddon.
It doesn't feel like 100. And what's been going on in between? Because I haven't been in 100 of these.
You've been in about
Three.
five out of 95, I would say.
5% short rate, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So we managed to get it. Feels, because we do these like 3 times a week now, 100 was going to inevitably happen sort of like in the middle of probably the year. So we're going to be doing episode 200 maybe by Christmas time.
I'll be back for episode 1000.
1000. Do you reckon that's how long we're going to stretch this on for?
Yeah, Luke with the grey beard, hunched over. Hello!
I really feel like this show has aged me by at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
So we obviously we're going to celebrate all things, I'll say Maverrik Live, because we've been digitally hibernated now for the last year and a bit, obviously due to recent events. How do you feel about now re-emerging into the real world, I should say?
This feels like normal now.
Yeah.
So going back to the real world feels weird. And I said beforehand, I'm slightly terrified. Should I tell the story?
Yeah, tell the story of why you're terrified.
Okay, so I have this really weird phobia of, and I did a live event 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The first one since all of this stuff. And as you know, if people don't know, we used to do these every single week, live events, different city, every week. So I'm typically in a month talking to about 500-600 people in person.
Yeah.
Then we go digital, and now you have to get used to faces on a screen or no faces on a screen.
Yeah.
So I have this really weird phobia, and this is quite embarrassing, really. So when you're in a room, people stare at you, and as you're talking, you catch people's eyes and you catch people's eye movements. And as I was doing this live event, I suddenly convinced myself I was flying low.
Okay. Was everyone like looking at your outfit and you were like, okay, there's something's not right here?
I don't know where they were looking, but in my head, I was like, oh, have I got my zip down? So I'm doing this presentation and, all the while going, am I flying low? And then I get developed this weird habit of pulling my top down.
Just to make sure, yeah.
So I tortured myself for an hour and a half in a session thinking that my fly was down, only to discover at the end of it that it wasn't.
It was fine, yeah, of course.
So I am a bit nervous about going back to it. I think once you do it, you just get into it again. But
you get immediate reactions when you've got people in front of you, whereas when you're in a digital space right now, when we're talking and we're live, we can see some comments coming through, but we're having a conversation. So you can kind of put it in the back of your mind that a lot of people might be watching right now.
But the weird thing is that when you're doing it digitally, people do other things at the same time.
Yeah.
So they've got their Zoom there, you've got a screen with like loads of different faces, and people are doing other stuff. So somebody will be on mute and their phone rings, or they'll be looking on their computer and you'll see their head going like that.
Yeah.
So you don't know who's just doing other stuff and is interested, and who's like, I've got to stay on this. But
yeah, I'm doing this call, but I actually got other important business on the side.
The feedback of all the events has been good online, but I'm excited and nervous, I think is the easiest way of saying it, because of the whole human dynamic and everybody feeling a bit different about the current situation in terms of some people just want to come up to you straight away, and some people want to maintain the distance and knowing how that works.
Yeah, I feel like there's been in recent events how people have been going up to it. A lot of people have been liberal with how they approach it. A lot of people have been a little bit more reserved, and it's catering to those two people to make sure that you still deliver to them what you've promised at the same time of the event. And now everyone does have to wear trousers now and can't just wear pajamas when they're at their screens. So going forward, I guess it's really a test of how well or how much people want to go out and be a part of that.
Yeah, and that, I think, what I've seen is lots of small business owners are ready to go.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of companies, they're reluctant to let their employees go to stuff because of the risks.
Yeah.
But I've been to a few different places, and it felt strange being back in proximity with strangers. Yeah. but really good.
Was that in another office? Because you've been to a few
So
buildings to see how they've approached, obviously, the way their office works now as well.
Yeah, so we've had some fun. So, but yeah, I went to 2 weeks ago. I went to a company. Their team were in for a training session, all one space. Everybody's spaced out.
Yeah.
But by that I mean distance.
Yeah, everyone's spacing out. Yeah, everyone was thinking to themselves, "Oh, what am I doing here?"
I can't recover from that now. But it was strange.
Yeah, I would be, because I feel like I've always lived in this digital space. Like whenever it comes to live events, I've never done much like public speaking or training. So me going into that environment would be strange anyway. But I imagine it's more terrifying now, I'd say, for people to be doing live speaking events than it is behind the camera, because a lot of people don't have that transition between skills. We had someone who could speak to about 100,000 people in their company, and then as soon as we try and interview them in a one-to-one talk, they could break down, because the digital land is a whole different environment.
Yeah, and I've seen that. I've seen some of the most confident people fall apart in front of a camera, as we both have.
Yeah.
The sharpest, confident people fall apart in front of a camera, and I've seen people who are really good. I mean, I've seen somebody who was really good down to camera and a live crowd, and you can see them shaking.
Yeah, it's scary, because you get it's immediate feedback. Like if they hate you, some of them will just tell you about it. It's not live stand-up, but it is like a live talking to a crowd. So if they're not on your side, you can see them doing other things, and it's a little bit more crushing when it's face-to-face and they are on their phone, or they're not paying attention, or they don't care.
One of the things I've had to do, because I come alive more in a crowd than I do. Like if I do pieces to camera, I feel a bit of an idiot doing them, and we have a load of laugh doing them as I'm making my mistakes and doing my weird mouth movements and all that kind of stuff. But actually doing a webinar every single week with hundreds of people, I think now, after doing enough of them, 100?
Yeah, if we're thinking this is one a week or 3 times a week, it's been
I'm doing
the
2
same
a
amount.
week. So I'm doing 2 live webinars
It'd be
a week.
the same.
So I'm probably around 100, if not a few more.
Just get you a graphic made.
But you get to the point where you don't care about the camera, and then that's when you really. Some people have said to me during the pandemic that have only come about Maverrik through. I shouldn't have said that word. Only come about through the live stuff online, and said it feels like you're actually in the room.
That's good.
Because you talk like you would in person. It feels very natural.
Well, the reason why I feel it's good that people, because you've run the same topic, but they're never the same webinar, they're never the same webcast. Because I watch them as you go along to make sure the studio is all in good nick. But it's interesting the wide variety of different shows about the same topic, because you'll get different questions which raise different concerns, and you've managed to do something new each time, which is interesting. Yeah,
and I think you become the master of your subject the more you talk about it, and the more Malcolm Gladwell says, about 10,000 hours. And I think back to the very, very first webinars we did before the studio. Remember, upstairs, and we used the pool table as a desk.
Yeah, there's a picture of all the banners around you, and then it was the desk on the pool table,
And it was clunky, it was uncomfortable. I think there was a crate holding a camera up. It was awful, but the more you do something, the more consistent, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
And I know this is not quite 100 episode material, but I think that's true of anything, is the day you start, you're at your worst. The day you do it for the first time is you're at your worst. There's no shortcutting around it. There's no getting around it. You just have to get through it. And the amount of people, I encourage people to do webinars and encourage people to be active on LinkedIn, of course.
Yeah.
The first few times you do something, it's a bit rough.
Yeah, like imagine drawing anything right now. Like you've got a drawing of a house, you do that for 10 minutes, do it once. You've got a square with a triangle on top. After time, you'll start having structures and frames and shading and all that frames and shading is just your knowledge, you know, getting better and better at it.
But there are some people who will make, and it's a little trick that we do to ourselves. And the reason you're here on the 100th episode is because there was a 1.
Yeah.
And there was a 2. And there was a 3. And some people might go, well, I want to get to where we are now, but how long did it take us to do this?
Yeah.
How many times did we try and it not work out as well? How many times, like people say, the studio looks really cool. Well, we didn't just launch a show and build a studio. We were doing other stuff before that.
Yeah, if you look through all the episodes through it, you can see first I was in front of the M logo we've got, then we moved the TV around, then I moved another desks around again. It was trying to fit the right formula to make it interesting.
You were doing other stuff before this too, building up to it, building up our kind of capacity to do it.
Yeah.
But some people would try and go in and do this from day one, and then they can't sustain it because it's too much too quick.
Yeah, it's, you know, with the equipment, the knowledge to like use it, you know, the manpower behind it as well. We've got, you know, people in the desks creating stuff for us as well. So we've, we've built all that to a point where now we've got a consistent show. We made it run.
And somebody said to me, I can't remember how accurate this is, but, and you know, I don't focus so much on YouTube. I like YouTube, but I don't focus on it so much. But for you to get a decent amount of views on any video on YouTube, it probably takes you 150 videos to get there.
Yeah, I would say that. I've seen, you know, the small creators growing. And I could kind of take a bit of reference to them to see like, okay, so how do you, get better? How do you get people interested? And it is just finding your niche, doubling down on it, and just consistently, improving and getting better.
Yeah, you find what works.
Yeah, exactly.
People want to know what works and make that, but sometimes you just find it.
Yeah, it's hard to see like a channel with one video on which has like 1.5 million views. So, like, unless you're spending loads of money on ad budget on it, you're not going to get anything in consistent views.
But some people would go, do you know what? I mean, we push this out all across all our social media, so we don't have, one social media channel that goes absolutely ballistic. I mean, LinkedIn company page is pretty hefty now. We've got 80,000 views a month or something. It's nuts, but still, like, even if we, like Facebook, we don't focus on our Facebook. So this video on Facebook might get, 100 views or whatever. Yeah. We still do it.
Yeah. I mean, because people, intake content in different ways. They might stumble upon us on Facebook, might stumble upon us on, LinkedIn. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do it, though. No. You need to spread your content around it.
I mean, if you had we can only do one, then fair enough. Yeah. But most of the time now, this goes out to all our channels at once, so why not? But there's this compounding effect of doing all of this stuff. So we think of, when we're trying to grow a business or build a business, we think that there's this one thing that will change everything. Yeah. We love to think about these events that will change everything, the game changer moment. There isn't a game changer moment. There's just lots of things building on top of each other, and compounding until somebody goes, I saw that. And you think, wow, that was it. No, there was a ton of other stuff that happened to get to that point.
Yeah, you saw that one piece because we put out so many pieces in loads of different areas. It's not like we posted that piece and everyone saw it.
Yeah, it's like the overnight success. Somebody becomes an overnight success because they had a viral video and now they're everywhere. Well, how many videos did they do that didn't go viral?
Yeah. And past that viral video, they probably had a lot of videos that didn't as well. Yeah. But it'll probably go viral again if they continue onwards and keep doing it.
And then it's, okay, you've got your moment, you got your viral video. Yeah. What do you now do to leverage that going forward? Because, we've all seen people come and go. They come, make a big splash and dissipate. How do you hold on to it? Yeah. And part of the big problem is everybody wants to make the big splash to change everything, when actually the problem is that once you make the big splash, you have to be able to sustain everything.
Exactly. Well, thank you for coming down, Dean.
Cool.
For episode 100. I will see you on episode 1000, like you said.
I might be dead.
Don't say that. But yeah, thank you for coming down, and thank you for basically helping with the studio right now.
Cool.
Giving me a platform to speak to everyone on our social profiles. We'll hopefully see you on episode 101, which will be, I think it's going out So we've got Wednesday now coming up, and then we've got Friday, and then every next Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 200, 300, 400, 500. It just keeps going on. Well, this has been episode 100 of Maverrik Live. We will see you next time for our next show. Thank you again for coming down, Dean.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for watching.